Dun, 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 bum 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 bum, dun, dun, fucking hell. No, you're not currently gazing at an alien spacecraft. This is actually the Acer Predator Triton 900, a flip screen gaming laptop boasting 4K visuals, RTX 2080 graphics, and some serious overclocking creds. In fact, it's actually not that far off an alien bloody spacecraft. I can't even really fit the whole thing in frame. It's such an absolute monster. First up, there is no getting around it. This thing has a serious heft at 4.5 kilos. The Triton 900 can actually kill an elephant. And I'm not talking about a baby elephant either, I'm talking about a proper full-on adult. Even this absolute brick of a power adapter could probably maim an average-sized capybara. Still, the metal chassis is solid in every area and sports some rather unique design elements, like this semi-transparent panel housed just above the keyboard. At one point you can actually see clear through the laptop. Acer's blur boasts that the Predator Triton 900 is amazingly thin at just 0.94 inches, which I guess technically is true, but good bloody luck fitting this in anything but the most mammoth of backpacks. On that back end, you get a bit of HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort action for hooking up external monitors, alongside that side-mounted USB Thunderbolt C 3.0 port. And you also get 3 full-sized USB connections, including one that's cunningly hidden away out of sight, and of course a bit of Ethernet action too. This beast right here is the Core i9 model, complete with 32 gigs of RAM, and of course you get a nice bit of Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 slapped in there as well with 8 gigs of VRAM. So as you can expect, performance is rather bloody good no matter which game you're blasting your way through, and the chassis also thankfully remains cool throughout. And when you need more muscle than a dozen Dolph Lundgrens, you can also overclock the Triton 900 CPU and GPU with just a tap of this handy turbo button up top. Of course, the second you hit that turbo button, Acer's 4th generation Aeroblade cooling system really kicks into gear. So yeah, as far as the noise levels go, it's about as subtle as a jet engine at a Wage War concert, but you know what? As far as the effectiveness is concerned, definitely no complaints. Those Joule fans, whose mechanics are apparently inspired by owl flight, can whip that pesky hot air away with impressive effectiveness, so the Triton does not get troublesomely toasty at any point, even under the extreme duress of overclocking. And there's no denying the effectiveness of the overclocking either, as witnessed in our Strange Brigade benchmark tests. Using the recommended graphics settings at 4K resolution, the scores that we saw without the overclocking were already pretty solid. We then decided to really test the Triton 900 by jacking up all of the graphics settings to max level, at which point the laptop spat out an average frame rate of 30.6, although the range was also quite high, drifted from a mighty 150 FPS down to a miserly 5. However, pump that turbo button to overclock the CPU and GPU and those scores massively improve. The average score kicks up to 69 FPS with a maximum score of 260, and yes, a minimum of 7 still. As for 3D Mark, that also churned out some excellent results, beating most other 4K gaming machines that we've tested. And of course, this nippy performance is helped along by the speedy dual SSDs in RAID 0 formation, which total 1TB. Crystal Disk returned read results over 3,500 MB per second, while the write speed was over 3,100 MB per second, so you won't be hanging around long waiting for the next level to load. And Acer's 17-inch 4K IPS display really is a thing of beauty, making the absolute most of that RTX GPU. As you'd expect, detail levels are absolutely superb, as is the color range. 100% of the sRGB and the Adobe RGB gamuts are reliably covered, which is particularly great news if you want to get some media editing on the go in between exploding people's faces. And of course you get full support for ray tracing and all of those other next-gen visual effects. As a bonus, that funky swivel design means that you can put the display in any orientation for kicking back with some Netflix or whatever. You can even convert the Triton 900 into a kind of tablet if you want to watch a flick and build your biceps to Jason Momoa levels at the same time. As for battery life, well, gaming laptops aren't exactly known for their longevity, but this thing has all the staying power of Jason Biggs in American Pie. Just 50 minutes of gaming is enough to fully drain the Triton 900 from 100% to 0, so yeah, you'll want to have it basically permanently plugged in. And I've got to say, I'm not a huge fan of the Triton 900's keyboard either. You get a full mechanical switch setup, but the travel is incredibly shallow, and I found that when I'm typing you have to hit some of the keys really hard for them to actually register. I didn't have many issues when actually gaming, thankfully, but you might want to connect your own board if you have a dedicated favourite. Of course, you do get full backlighting on that keyboard with total control over each individual key rather than mere sectors. These colours can be manipulated using Acer's Predator Sense app as usual, which is basically a hub for fiddling with the fans and all of the other mechanics as well. So sure, the Acer Predator Triton 900 might be about as portable as a dead rhinoceros, but as far as the performance goes, it really can't be beat. Those premium specs and the fantastic Aeroblade cooling system, which means zero throttling, means you can basically blast through any game you want with gorgeous 4K visuals. Of course, these kind of smarts do not come cheap, so as well as having pretty beefy biceps, you'll need a loaded bank account in order to get your Triton 900 on the go. So are you tempted by Acer's next-gen gaming laptop? Definitely let us know what you think down in the comments below, and please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech. Cheers!